Alhamdulillahi nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayh wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu wa nashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa nashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Amma ba'd. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ قتلتم نفسا فادارأتم والله مخرج ما كنتم تكتمون فقلنا اضربوه ببأسها كذلك يحيي الله الموتى ويريكم آياته لعلكم تعقلون ثم قست قلوبكم من بعد ذلك فهي كالحجارة أو أشد قسوة صدق الله مولانا العظيم. Respected audience, dear brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The topic of my discussion for today is heart and mind in the parlance of Quran. Before I am going to have an exhaustive discussion over that very topic, I would like to have some introduction of my title first. Why we have taken this very topic for our discussion. To have that very introduction, let me borrow a quote from famous French philosopher by the name of René Descartes. René Descartes says, cogito ergo sum, which means I think, therefore I am. That means, he says actually, rather this has been accepted across all the civilizations, that we exist only when we think. So, in order to exist, in order to know our existence, thinking, understanding, this is very much imperative, this is very much important and inevitable. So far our own traditions are concerned. For example, the very first revelation in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. You see, the basic things which are here being mentioned are reading, recitation, the use of pen, knowing the unknown. These all fell in the domain of thinking and understanding. Besides that, there is another question that has been, developed, rather put forth by the mystics. They say it's very much important that we all shall be able to have our introspection of our inner being. One thing is our, physical existence, and they say another is our spiritual existence. Living this dichotomy, but we have an existence besides this physical existence. In order to have that very introspection, that look in our inner being, we need some basic instruments. What are those very instruments which can enable us to have that very introspection? I can narrate you a story. In 2000, USSR, Russia, they released prisoners of war. Among them there was he is world-known prisoner of war. He was behind the walls for 54 years, I think. You can go through it, this story is there in the Wikipedia. When he was released, he was speaking such a, strange language. Nobody was able to, just understand him. And it was felt at that time that he may be mad, he may be some insane person. But there was a doctor, he was just able to understand his bits of his language. Then he said, actually he's speaking some Hungarian language. Then it was found that actually he is speaking some old dialect of Hungary. And the very much important point that was that came into emphasis at that time was the first thing that he asked for, that was the mirror. A person who has spent 54 years behind the bars, and after 54 years, rather in confinement, those solitary cells where they don't have even light, then the first thing he's asking for the mirror. He wanted to see his self, physical self. You see, we don't give much importance to those things. Every day we go before mirrors and then have our makeups, all that. And he just asked for mirror. This very story is quoted by a philosopher. Then he says, we have never ever tried to have some framework, have some instrument that can enable us to have a reflection of our inner being. Is there any instrument? Mystics say, of course, there is an instrument which can enable us to have our inner reflection. And so far the title of my topic is concerned, these are the instruments which are mentioned, which are the very part of my discussion. They can enable us to, just how, if I will close my eyes, then I have to look into my, inner being. Since this is not the physical vision through which I can have my introspection, the instruments which can enable me, which will help me in this very process, these instruments are the parts of my discussion. And as I said, the first revelation, besides that we have many other traditions. For example, the second caliph of our Islam, Farooq Azam Raziyallahu anhu, he used to say, yuhasabu qabla an tuhasabu. You have your accountability before the time you will be subjected to the accountability. How come we can make ourselves accountable? What are those very instruments? What are those very powers, those very things which are there in our being, in our physical existence, in our whatever, being or spiritual or mental, cognitive, whatever. In that very being, what are those instruments which help us? If I will ask this very question to you guys, I think you will answer, and if to anybody you will ask this very question, he will say it's the mind. Actually, it's the mind with which we think, we ponder, we reflect. That will help us to how to get engrossed in these things. But when I asked this very question to one of the famous neurobiologists, Antonio Damasio, he has worked a lot over this. He had written famous books over them, and they're considered as classics in this very neurobiology. For example, one of his books is The Feeling of What Happiness, looking for Spinoza, Joy, Sorrow and the Feeling Brain, and another book, Descartes' Errors. When I'm asking this very question to him, that how come? Is it mind only that will enable me to just understand, to just think, to have comprehension, to just ponder over the things? He says no. There are many things. Actually, our body, there are various organs in our body, there are various parts in our body which in collaboration with our brain, they work synchronously and help us to reach to some conclusions. What I wanted to say, actually, the verse I quoted, that is from Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse 73 and 74. Two verses I recited here. In these two verses, the same proposition is being developed. It's narrated the story of the Israelites, the children of Israel, the people of book, when they were asked, the previous passages, when they were asked to have the slaughter of that very cow. And after that, they asked for complete description of that very cow. It's narrated in those very verses. Later on, when they slaughtered that very cow, there is a story mentioned, وَإِذْ قَتَلْتُمْ نَفْسًا فَدَّارَاتُمْ. Allah says, And after that they killed a person, some unknown person, فَدَّارَاتُمْ, and then started blaming each other. They felt in a sort of call, they started blaming each other. And وَاللَّهُ مُخْرِجٌ, Allah was going to expose all this, مَا كُنْتُمْ تَكْتُمُونَ, what they were going to conceal, what they were going to hide. فَقُلْ نَزْرِبُوهُ بِبَازُهَا, Allah told them, you have a, just a piece of flesh of that very slaughtered cow, you took that, فَقُلْ نَزْرِبُهُ, and struck with that very piece of flesh with the dead body. كَذَلِكَ يُحْيِي اللَّهُ الْمَوْتَى, and the very dead body that got resurrected, that became alive. And Allah says, كَذَلِكَ يُحْيِي اللَّهُ الْمَوْتَى, in this way we give life to the dead. And goes on to say, وَيُرِيكُمْ آيَاتِهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, and in this way we are going to show them our signs, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, but the prerequisite thing is that they should invest their aql. And in our common language, we know aql is generally used for the mind, for the intellect. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, so that they can use aql. Then Allah goes on to say, ثُمَّ قَسَّتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ, but after that their hearts got hardened, مِنْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ, after this their hearts got hardened. Of course, they saw this very amazing thing that before them a dead body is getting life, and this definitely moved them. But there was not a much lapse of time. ثُمَّ قَسَّتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ, after this their hearts got hardened. أَوْ أَشَدُّ قَسْوَةً, rather kal hijara, like stones, like rocks. أَوْ أَشَدُّ قَسْوَةً, rather more hardened than the stones. Actually, scholars say, when first there is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, it is talking about the mind, it's talking about the aql. And in the next verse, it is ثُمَّ قَسَّتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ, there comes the discussion of heart. Even if you will go through the literature, go through the various resources which are available there, you see people they just draw a demarcation line. It is something intellectual, it is something spiritual, all that. But see, there was لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, and here it was ثُمَّ قَسَّتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. You just keep this thing in mind, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ ثُمَّ قَسَّتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. And they try to have a demarcation line between the mind and between the heart. We have in Surah Hajj chapter 22 verse 46, it is said, أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ, have these people not traveled in the earth? فَتَّكُونُ لَهُمْ قَلُوبٌ, after traveling they should have hearts. لَهُمْ قَلُوبٌ يَأْكِلُونَ بِهَا, with those very hearts they could have pondered, they could have have got developed the comprehension. And goes on to say, biha aw azanu yasmauna, they would be having ears through which they would have listened. Fa innaha la ta'mal absar walakinna ta'mal qulubul lati fi sudur. Of course, they were having all these very things, eyes, ears, but they didn't use them. It was not they were deaf, dumb, rather it was blindness that was there in their hearts, and those hearts are located in their breasts, in their chests. You see, qulubun yaqiluna biha, lahum qulubun, they don't have the hearts. They could have heart. They were possessing those very hearts with which they would have comprehended. And I think this very verse believes the demarcation line between the intellectual, between the spiritual. There is another verse in Surah Araf, chapter 7, verse 179. وَلَقَدْ زَرَعْنَا لِجَهَنَّمَ كَثِيرًا مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ. Verily, we have created abundantly the people for the hell, among jinns and among the men. لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. They would definitely be having hearts, but with those very hearts, لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا, they don't ponder. وَلَهُمْ عَيْنٌ لَا يَبْصُرُونَ بِهَا وَلَهُمْ آذَانٌ, all these things. I mean to say, Quran does not anywhere just draw a demarcation line between heart and mind when it comes to the comprehension, when it comes to the understanding, when it comes to the thinking, when it comes to the ponderance, when it comes even to the heedlessness or heedfulness. Quran does not demarcate any line. I think the modern research which is going on there in the medical science, there in the neurobiology, they too say us it's not possible that we can say it's purely the mind. By mind I mean say the brain that's there in our suckle in the form of gray matter. Mind, a sort of software that has been developed on the hardware of brain. It is alone this very entity which is doing the functioning of reasoning, thinking, understanding. It is more than this. It is more than this. So the ambiguity that arises out of the understanding of these very two terms, Quran, this heart and mind in the Quran, this was the reason that I tried to just bring these very terms into my discussion. In purely in a student effort, we would like to have these very lectures. Hopefully, inshallah, someday we will definitely come to some very much meaningful conclusion, some insightful conclusion. So let me take two terms are there, heart and mind, and I shall first take mind. And so for mind is concerned, I defined the mind. There is term brain. Brain is purely physical, a term used for the physical part, the gray matter, the cerebral spheres, hemispheres that are located in our suckle, that's brain. And something software which we understand in modern terminology as we are a bit versed with the computer sciences, that is loaded upon this very brain. Mind is something software and brain is something physical. And I said minds are very much complex. For understanding it's a bit cruel as well, because so far here we have a very good student of biology, another teacher of biology. Modern science, medical science, neurobiology has not reached to this very stage that they can conclusively say that this is how the brain works. This is how the neurons function. What's the nature of memory? What's the nature of remembrance? What's the nature of nostalgia? They can't say. I mean to say it is still in its development. So I mean to say it needs a brave heart to deal with the subject of mind. And by brave heart I don't mean, by brave heart I mean wasbir alama asabak inna zalika min azmil umur. I mean to say with patiently I think we should just pursue these very terms, and inna zalika min azmil umur, those would be inshallah great things, and we will come to have some meaning of these very terms. Let us take very much common terms for the mind which are they used in the Quran. The famous word that I know even in our what we say mother dialect, we say aql. Aql is the word that is used for mind. But when we ask this very question, what's the meaning of, to the scholars of lexicography, so the first word that's used for the mind in the Quran, not purely, I shall say, purely noun form, because I'm not well versed with the Arabic a bit as a student. I know here we have good scholars, they can just help us in this regard. Aql, to some extent they have been used as noun in the Quran. That what I am going to deal now. Aql in Arabic, Arabic mean, actually the scholars say aql mean to, it has been just drawn from the mother word aqala, which means to just hold back something, to just tie up something, to just bind something. For example, Imam Raghib Asani in his famous book of lexicography, he quotes this sentence. We say in Arabic, when a lady tries to entangle her hair, aqalat imra'atu sha'ruha, a lady has just entangled her hair, he has fixed her hair by some rubber band, all that. We say aqalat imra'atu sha'ruha. And if somebody remains silent, but that silence is very much active, he should talk, but he is remaining, he just holding back his tongue or her tongue, we say aqala lisanu. When aql translated as a mind, I said it's some sort of software which can just work for two results. One is positive, another is negative. One is positive, another is negative. It works for some ultimate result that may be favorable, that may be unfavorable. And there are we have scholars in our tradition that just they just classify, rather they discuss the types of the aql. For example, the second caliph of Islam, rather the fourth caliph, Caliph Ali Radiallahu Anhu, he says al-aqlu aqlanun. We have two types of aql. One is matbu'un, one is that's in our tabiyyat, natural aql, and another is masmoon. Another intellect aql is that which we get by by hearing. See, we have come for this point. Definitely, this will broaden the horizons of our mind. So one is matbu'un, another is masmoon, that we get by hearing. And he says wala yanfa'u masmoon. A person, this will not, masmoon aql cannot get developed in that very person. This will not benefit him. Islam yaku matboon, if he is not having the natural intellect, if he is not endowed, if he is not with some naturally, he should be with some inborn intellect. Even he goes on to say la yanfa'u zawa shamsi, like blazing sun cannot benefit. وَالزَّوْءُ الْعَيْنِ مَمْنُونَ, like a blazing sun cannot benefit a blind person. It is there, giving light, but to a blind person this will not benefit. Even when I said aql in these very terms, that this guides us towards positive results and negative results. In that very context, we have the traditions of Prophet, which is just in praise of the aql. For example, we have one of the tradition there in the Tirmizi. Ma khalaqallahu khalqan. Allah has not created any creature. Ma khalaqallahu khalqan akram. Allah has not created any creature in His whole creation. Akramu alayhi min al aql, which is more respectable than aql. Even we can draw this very, aql has been separately created as a creature. Even there are very exhaustive discussions over this, since the paucity of time will not allow me to go through all those very discussions. Another, there is tradition, one of the hadith, the hadith goes on to say, ma kasaba ahadu shayyan afzalu. A man among you has not, just earned a afzal thing, min al aql, than aql. Which aql? Yahdihi ila huddan, which guides him towards goodness. Aw yuradduhu an raddan, or just keeps him back from destruction. What I said, actually I am trying to have the clarification of that meaning, that aql is used in this very time, that it goes for two results, positive and negative. For example, if for negative results, and definitely then opposite is also true. For example, we have a verse in chapter 2, verse 75, the discussion we are just doing about the children of Israel. About them it is said to the companions of the Prophet who were there in the Medina, and they were having this very, they were just entertaining this hope that those very people of big book, they will definitely have belief our Prophet. Then they are said, afatatma'una an yuminu lakum, are you entertaining this hope that these people are going to believe in your Prophet? O you the companions of the Prophet, or you the believers, are you entertaining this very hope that these people of the book are going to have faith on your Prophet? وَقَدْ كَانَ فَرِيقٌ مِّنْهُمْ, don't you see this thing? There is a group of people among them, يَسْمَعُونَ كَلَامَ اللَّهِ, they openly hear this very word of God. ثُمَّ يَحْرِفُونَ مِنْ بَعْدِ, and after that, ثُمَّ يَحْرِفُونَهُ, then they pervert the word of the God. Ma akaluhu min ba'di ma akaluhu, even after they were having the intellect, they were having the intellect, with their their intellect goes into some negative direction, that teaches them something different. Even last time a question came here that the people who are there in the West, these atheists all, it seems apparently that they are doing a good research in pursuit of truth and reality. What would be the ultimate fate of those people? Then the point came, there shouldn't be something, inner mischief. If this is not involved, there is some inner mischief of theirs is not involved in their pursuit, then definitely their fate would be good. And you see, ma akaluhu, their intellect teaches them something. but ultimately the conclusion goes wrong. Conclusion goes wrong. وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. أَكَلُوهُ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. This is a very, interesting phase. Dear, O you the people, how come you have this very hope that they're going to have faith on your prophet? Don't you see? After, after hearing the word of the God, then even mimbadi akaluhu, that means even their intellects are very much attracted towards that very thing, but still they go astray. There is something deeper. It's not only this. And there is another verse, for example, when in Surah Mulk, it is said, in the day of judgment, when the people of hellfire are, being subjected to accountability, and it is asked to them, Alam yatikum nazir? Didn't any warner came to you? Alam yatikum nazir? They say, Kalu bala. Of course, a warner came to us. Kalu bala. Kalu bala qad ja'ana nazir. Of course, a warner came to us. Kalu bala qad ja'ana nazir. Fakazzabna, but we rejected them. Fakazzabna. Wa kulna ma nazzala Allahu min shay'in. And we said to them that nothing has got revealed upon you. Nothing. And we, not only this, that nothing has got revealed upon you, in antum illa fi zalalim mubin. We told to these very warners that in antum illa fi zalalim mubin, indeed you are in complete, ignorance. And Allah says, what was the basic fault? Where was the fault lying? And they, just accept this. Rather, it is through their tongue. Allah, Quran says, وَقَالُوا, they are saying, لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَاكِلُ. Had we heard or أَوْ نَاكِلُ, we would have employed our intellect. Their intellect may have worked towards positive direction, but we didn't invest our intellect, mind. وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَاكِلُ. I was saying to, aql means to hold back. What we were doing, actually, in a proper way, we didn't use our intellect. This may have held us back from doing this very, bad stuff. وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَاكِلُ مَا كُنَّا فِي أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. If we would have done this, then مَا كُنَّا فِي أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ, then definitely we would not have been among the companions of the blazing fire. In limited time, I think I should leave this aql now. We should come to another time, the term that is used for aql, that is hijr. There's a famous verse, you would be remembering that's in the second chapter of the Quran. وَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي, you should fear the hellfire. وَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. Verily, whose fuel would be the people and the stones. So hijr, this is stone. When hijr is used for the, as a synonymous to the aql, then it is used when something dangerous is going outside and you wanted to have shield. You wanted to just, when, as the denizens of this very vale, we know well this thing, when something, shootout is going outside, definitely we just take shield of something, very big rock, some tree, all that. When something wrong is going outside and you take shield, it's not some physical shield, your intellect teaches you some best strategy that you should go for this, and this will safeguard you from all these very committees. Then the word is used, hijr. The very famous verse, or the famous chapter of the Quran, that is by the name of Fajr, and the very first verse is Wal Fajr, I swear by the dawn. Walayal Nashr, I swear by 10 nights. Washaf'i wal watr, by even and by odd. Wallayli iza asr, by the passing night. Hal fi zalika qasamul lizi hijr. There is surely an oath for the thinking man. This is what Abdullah Yusuf Ali writes. There is surely an oath for the thinking man. And what is next discussed in this very chapter, that is Ad, Samud, Iram. A calamity befall upon them. They were not able to, just follow the path of the guidance. Even, Firaun got drowned in that gushing water. It is something very dangerous is happening. Don't you see, I'm going to mention those very things in the next verses. So, hal fi zalika qasamul lizi hijr, are you going to have some shield, have some protection from those very committees from those very dangerous things, from those very bad and worse things which are going outside? Are you going to have some, work of your intellect, comprehension in some that way that at least you will save yourselves? Hijr is used in, that way. Then we have, rather, you can see it's not only the danger that's going outside. It is, so far we have verse, wal asr innal insana lafi khusr. So by nature, this life is very much, in loss. Innal insana lafi khusr. Every human being is in utter loss. So in order to save ourselves from this very loss and destruction, we have to employ our intellect, hijr, in that way, so that we can safeguard ourselves from this very loss. Then there is another, term that is used for this very mind. First I said aql, then hijr. There is another term that is hilm. Hilm, as we know, we have by hilm we have names in our communities by this word halim. Halim in Urdu means narm, जिसमें बड़ी नरमी हो, तबीयत से जो बड़ा नरम हो. So halim means a gentle, kind one who is having a mild character. He is not that quarrelsome, he is not that annoying guy. That's halim. For example, there is a verse in Surah Hud about Ibrahim. It is said inna Ibrahim alayhi salam, inna Ibrahim la halimun awwahum munib. Verily the Prophet Ibrahim was halim. He was a mild, imploring, penitent guy. Imploring, this mild means halim. He was very calm, cool guy. Ibrahim was awwahum munib. He was imploring. He was a person who was, most of the times he was turning towards the Allah. Another verse about him is when he was given the glad tidings about Ismail, and very soon Eid is coming. فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَمِيدٍ. Verily we فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ. And we, just gave him the glad tidings to him of Halim son. Halim, soft, of gentle, mild. Now when it is used for intellect, it is used when intellect is used very calmly. You will ask me, then is it used in some urgency as well? Of course, it's used at the time of urgencies as well. Rather, the most smart guys, the most successful guys in the world are those who can, just use their intellect at the urgent times. When we are at leisure, just, flat, staying, then it's all the time of world, and we can think about, all the shootouts going outside, all the things, stuff going outside. You need quick reflexes. Halim means when there are very big decisions you have to make, and those decisions are going to have the impact on the future, on your future life. Then the intellect used there at time, the word is used halim. Halim is used. For example, there is a passage mentioned in Surah Tur, chapter 52, verse it is 31-32. Am yakuluna sha'irun. Am yakuluna sha'irun natarabbasu bihi raibul manun. Do they say he is a poet for whom we may expect the accident of time? These people are saying that he is simply a poet, and we should actually, poets, they don't have a very big life. Ultimately, he will, what he has created, this very mirage, all that, what we see, influence, this will die out of its own. There is no need to that we can develop any sort of opposition. Do they say he is a poet for whom we may expect an accident of time? Kul tarabbasu, O you Prophet, you tell them, tarabbasu, you wait. Fa inni ma'akum, and I am waiting with you, minal mutarabbisin, among the waiters. O you Prophet, you tell them, you wait and I am waiting with you among all the waiters. When we are waiting, we are at leisure, almost. And you get a good time that you think. And when you think, you will think calmly. Here the term is used, am ta'muruhum ahlamuhum. Do their intellect has ordered them, taught them, bihaza, this, that they are telling that we should wait for his natural death. Na'uzubillah min zalik. Am ta'muruhum ahlamuhum. Do their ahlam, do their hilm, aql tells them calmly this we wait for a big period of time and wanted to see an ultimate natural result, what would be that? Is this alam teaching them? Bihaza? It's not what it's alam teaching them. Bihaza amhum qawmun tagun. Actually, this is the nation who has transgressed. Actually, this is the nation who has transgressed, who has crossed all the boundaries. And I have received this chit. This reads, time is over, please conclude. Since this is a very exhaustive topic and this needs good time, and inshallah, if we remain alive, inshallah, in future discussions we will take this matter forward. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.